Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to Chronicles of a Crafter. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, and I'm not even going to say that I'm back, okay? Because I don't know what the future holds. I'm just doing this to reintroduce myself into my craft room because it has been a while, okay? And it's true, the old adage that goes, you know, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. This morning I had the toughest time getting started. I couldn't get my camera going. I couldn't get the lights going. There was just, everything was plugged in. I just couldn't get everything going. So anyway, I finally figured all of that out, and now I am going to do a video. Okay, so don't judge. Yes, it's been several months since I've been on here, but you know, I just figured I'd come on and just give you guys an update on what's been going on. I've been heavily into making leather products lately. So I've been making little purses like this with leather and keychains and things like that. I've just been toying with some leather projects. I've also been toying with candle making. Like, candles are, I don't know, maybe it is a fire hazard. I don't think I'd come on here and show you guys how to make a candle because I don't want you guys to burn your house down. But I've been playing with some candles and making soap. I've been playing with a lot of soap making lately and just having fun. I'm also toying with the idea of doing some miniatures. So I'll just show you guys what I'm talking about. Like, this is like a miniature scenery. It's basically like a diorama, okay? And there's so many fascinating little things that you can do with miniatures. I love the idea. So this is just one of the things that I've been thinking about doing, is playing with some miniature things. And this is an expensive hobby. Now, I've been looking at the cost of, let's say, this door, for example. This is a $6 door, okay? So it is an expensive hobby. Maybe I'll do a couple with you guys. And this is what really gave me the idea. It's because this is inside of a book. Like, it's a book. It's basically a box, but someone made this little scenery inside of here, and I just thought that was super cute. I'm like, that would look adorable on a shelf next to my junk journals. So anyway, just food for thought. That's what I've been thinking about doing. So yeah, what I've done lately, most recent project that I did off camera, this is prior to, a couple of weeks ago, it was the Stamp and Scrapbooking Expo. So I went out there to the Orange County Convention Center and participated in some of the stuff that they had going on for the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo. I also worked for the expo, so I had a lot of fun. Anyway, since then, I've done this. Okay, so I ordered some, I have a king size bed. I ordered some bed sheets, and it came with this great piece of cardboard. Okay, so it's like this, right? This was part of it, and I cut it down. You know, just by looking at it, you can be like, oh my gosh, that would make a great book. It already has a spine, you know, just flip it over. And this was the shape that it came in. And yeah, so I just decided to turn this into a book cover. You guys seen me make books before. You've seen me make covers for books before. You've seen me do full journals. I have not done a journal for the year yet. I know it's already March and I need to get on it, but I have not made myself a journal for the year as yet. And I made this one out of that large packaging that came with the bed sheets that I purchased. Now, that being said, this ended up being a very large book. I'm gonna give you the measurements of it. This is larger than I've ever made before. This is now 10.5 by let's see, 10.5 by 9, 8 and 7/8. Okay, so this is a very large book. Okay, 8 and 7/8, almost 9 inches. I don't even have paper to fill this book as yet, but I do have some paper that I've purchased a long time ago. Wasn't sure what to do with it, but it's very thin paper. This is like some Asian writing rice paper. Okay, it's very, very thin, as you can see. So, but they're large enough to fit into the book. So that's a possibility. that I was going to consider. Then I was like, you know what, my first time back, let's just get our feet warm, you know, let's just like not dive right in yet. We got to test the waters a little bit. And I decided to make a much smaller journal to go along with the larger journal. Okay, so I have here some more of that same packaging from bed sheets. Okay, that's some of the best stuff that you can possibly find. It's packaging from bed sheets because it already comes like pre-folded in some cases. It already has a spine. It has different, you know, different folds that you can work with. Same with cereal boxes, although those are thinner. Cereal boxes make great junk journal covers. Okay, just gonna move some of this other stuff out of the way, and let's just make a smaller version of that larger junk journal. Okay, I had to cut away some of this, and I'm not even sure if this is the right size. I may need to trim this down some, but I cut away some of this packaging right here to make these two covers, front and back, right here. And I think I'll also use maybe this section right here for a spine, so I'll just cut this strip off and we'll just get started. Right, I'll cover it and we'll get some paper in there. We'll do some binding. We'll see how long this video goes, but I promise you I will definitely finish this journal with you, if not today, the next time you see me, and it won't be as long in between as it has been. I do apologize, you guys, but again, I've been into all kinds of cool different crafts. Okay, this is Chronicles of a Crafter. We don't only do junk journals here, we do lots of other things. And being at the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo, I was sitting with a friend of mine, Michelle, and I'll put a link for her channel in the description box, and probably somewhere on the screen I'll put her channel. But yeah, my friend Michelle, she and I were talking, and she was like, I haven't seen you on YouTube lately, and you know, that kind of like, maybe I should get back on here and do some fun stuff. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and just cut this up. And I'm just going to cut this section right here. I'm going to use an old, let's see, an old rusty box cutter here. And because the creases already exist, I don't need to do anything else but lay my ruler down on here as a guard to protect my fingers. Make sure you're always looking at where the knife is going. And I'm going to score this off one more time. Hopefully I can get it off with this time. Okay, and yes, there's some jagged edges. We'll fix that later. It'll all be covered up, so it really, not that it doesn't matter, it's just that we don't stress over small things here on this channel. So if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing. Go ahead down into the you know, the lower section of this video and hit that subscribe button, because it really does help the channel grow. And yes, I do have lots of ideas and things to do, you know, in the crafting world, in the junk journaling world. So yeah, I do play a lot in my craft room. I do have a dedicated space for crafting. So yeah, I mean, it's fun to hang out with you guys. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and if nothing else, if this video brings you any kind of value, any joy whatsoever, go ahead and hit like. Okay, it does help the channel again, and I appreciate it. So this is how I'm going to set this up to create the front and back covers of the journal. And it doesn't matter if they were already pre-attached, like this one was. It was all pre-attached. I didn't have to use any binding tape or anything like that. Or if you cut them in from 3 separate pieces like I'm doing right here. I'm going to show you guys what I use to bring this all together. Okay, so let me grab some binding tape, and you can use any tape. I've used Tyvek tape. I've used what is that tape called? I'll just show you. I'll show you some of the tapes that I've used. Hang on. Okay guys, so this is Tyvek tape. It's a construction tape. I mean, when I say construction, I mean for homes. Okay, a lot of homes are wrapped in an insulation of sorts, and then they connect that insulation or the house wrapping with this right here, which is called Tyvek tape. Okay, it's a product by DuPont. It's very strong, okay, and it gets the job done. All right, it's not an inexpensive tape as well, so I use it sparingly. But yeah, I had a lot of this left over when I did the renovations to my RV, so I just been using some of that. And this right here is gaffer's tape. You can get this on Amazon in various widths, and this is like a fabric tape. Okay, it's very sticky. All right, and this will hold your book together in a hurricane. Okay, this right here is so durable. It's like a fabric material on the outside and very sticky on the inside, and this I've been using for years. Okay, it'll last you forever. Okay, and this right here is binder's tape. This is an actual book binding tape that bookbinders use. Okay, people who bind books. But yeah, this right here will also very sticky. It'll hold your book together forever and ever. I usually just give myself about let's see, maybe a little less than 1/4 of an inch in between the spine and the jackets, the outside covers, just so that the book can fold, okay, the way that this does. This had very deep creases, in very deep score marks and creases in this this piece of cardboard, so all of it was connected, you know, it was all pre-connected. But because I'm doing this separately, yeah, I'm just gonna give myself like maybe 1/8 of an inch in between the front and the back and the spine, and we don't even know which is the front and which is the back as yet. Okay, I usually decide that afterwards when I figure out like which side looks better and that becomes the front. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut that off, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, you want your book spine to bend, you know, somewhat easily. And I will place another piece on this side as well. And I'm just using binding tape because this is what I have right now. I could have used any one of those other tapes and they would have done exactly the same thing. What you will find though, if you're using fabric to cover your book, you will find that sometimes the gaffer's tape in black will show through your fabric, and you know, that could be a good or bad thing. It doesn't matter. You know, it all depends on how you know, how it matters to you. So I'm just going to add another piece of tape right here, and again, this is just to give the book enough room to open and close freely without putting any stress on the spine or the front and back covers. Okay, so there's that little boo-boo that I made right there. It's going to get covered up. Doesn't even matter. So anyway, guys, I hope y'all are having a stress-free day. Like, I just, you know, I had to come back on just to give you guys an update, if nothing else. But while I'm here, I might as well make something, right? So I do miss I miss all of my loyal subscribers, the ones who always comment in the videos. You know who you are. You know, just don't be too upset with me if you don't see me for a while. You know, I do have, just like you guys, I have a life outside of this, and you know, a lot's been going on in the world lately. Okay, so you know, just saying. All right, so this right here became my book. It's a little wonky, so I just give it a little push in different directions just to get it to conform to being a book. Okay, and I think it's a little too tall. Okay, so it's a little bit too tall this way. I'm just going to cut off yeah, I'll just cut off a piece up here at the top, and it's just going to be like maybe 1/4 of an inch. I just thought it might have been too tall. And so yeah, I'll give you the measurements of what this is right now. It's a little over 9.5. It's oh, it's almost 9.5, so I can cut off like 1/2 inch. a little bit better, even though it's more jagged than I would have liked, but it's fine. All right, next I'm just going to cover it with some fabric. Let's see what we have here. And again, I'm doing the a mini book to the previous. Okay, this is the oversized one. I'm just going to do a mini book to it until I can get some actual paper to fit in there. And both of these fabrics that I had left over from the previous book is too small to fit, so I'm going to have to go with something larger. Here's another roll of the same thing. So with this, I was going to do the opposite. I was going to put the inside as the outside cover on this one and put this on the inside, but I don't have enough, so I'm just going to use the same fabric on the outside as I did previously. This is non-directional fabric, so the pattern doesn't matter which direction it's facing. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly show you guys what I do. I line this up like so, and your fabric doesn't even have to be like that straight or ironed or anything like that. It's just you know, you guys know we've been doing this for a while. Okay, I just need like maybe half an inch on both sides to come across into the inside, and I will use this fabric right here on the inside. So maybe I need a little bit more than half an inch. Well, it's mostly on the top and the bottom, so that's fine. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut on this line. I have a line right here, a natural fold in the fabric right here. I'm just going to cut this off. And I'm going to cut here at the bottom as well. So let's just slide this down a little. This will be my top. Slide it down just a little bit more. Yeah, so because I need a little bit more top and bottom, not so much on the edges, because this is the fabric that I want to use on the inside, and this is all that I have left. So I have to make sure that this fits fully on the inside. So there's that section, and then I'm just going to rotate this entire thing and cut it again. So again, it doesn't have to be straight or anything right at this moment. It's not until after you get your stuff situated on here, then you want to make sure that your lines are straight. So I'm just going to cut, leaving about an inch at the bottom. So I left half an inch on the sides and about an inch on the top and the bottom. Okay, and that's how I ended up with just this much fabric left over, because this is all that there is half the time, you know, more times than not. All right, so from here I'm just going to take some, let's just use some glue stick. I do have some Scotch Create somewhere, but I believe it's in the other room. I'm just going to glue stick on the outside here. This is just some jot glue. It's a temporary glue. It's nothing permanent, but it's good that you can lift your stuff up and reposition it if you need to. Okay, so that's what's really important to me. So I'm just going to add a bit of jot glue here. Okay, try to get them in the corners as much as you can. Okay, and I'm going to flip over my book cover, and this is when you want your fabric to be as straight as possible. Okay, I'm using temporary glue so that I can lift and reposition my book cover, but you want your fabric to be just as straight as possible so that when you put your book down, it all works out. So again, all I need is about a half an inch on each side, which is what that looks like. I'm going to give everything a little tug just to make sure that it's nice and straight. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over and get this book cover all smooth out. Okay. Oops. Alright, so now I'm just going to flip it back over again, and we're going to cut away some of these angles up here because it's just going to be too much bulk when you go to glue the corners down. So sorry about the blur. I don't know what just happened. My camera just went blurp. Alright, so I'm just basically just cutting off these little corners. You want to cut it so that you have like, you don't want to cut it too close to the cardboard, because like right here I left a little section right there. If you cut it too close, you're going to end up having that cardboard protrude through. So yeah, this side's a little close, but again, temporary glue on the cover, you can just adjust, right? So I'm just going to give this section right here a little tug, and it recreated me some space. You probably can't see that, but right here I just made myself some extra space right there from that cover. So that's my top. I'm going to call that the top, I believe. I think. And I'm going to cut down here as well. Again, I'm just cutting off the excess in the corner so that when you fold everything over, you don't have too much bulk in that corner. So I'm only doing this because I don't have a journal for the year as yet. I have not created one for myself as yet. So this is what I'm going to be working from throughout the year. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and use some more permanent glue. Let me see, maybe I can use this. This is some Craft Bond glue, all-purpose, very permanent glue. And I'm just going to add some to the edges of the book itself, you know, the cover. And then we will fold over our fabric onto that. So just, you know, full disclosure, I did come on, I came into the craft room and I did come on and make a video previously, but I just was not happy with it, and I went ahead and deleted it and then called it quits, right? I never came back. So, I mean, I came back into the craft room, I just never came back on camera. So, and that was just for some ephemera that I made. I wasn't really happy with the way the project turned out, and I didn't think that you guys would have wanted to see that anyway. So I just kind of like nixed it from my camera. So I didn't have a video for a while to show you guys. I didn't even have anything in the works, nothing. So yeah, that's kind of what kept me away from the craft room for a little while. I'm like, am I losing my creativity? Like, why can't I just like walk in there and make stuff and be happy with the things that I make? And you know, it's just my own problems, I guess you can say. But yeah, I was like, I don't want to be like, you know, cliche crafter just making anything. I want to make things that you guys want to see me make, you know. And I figured I haven't done one of these in a while, seeing that I usually do one journal a year for myself, and I haven't made one yet. So I was like, let me just go on here and chit chat with y'all just to see, okay, just to test the waters and see what's going on. I'm just going to cut away some of these excess flyaways, these little threads that came with the came off the fabric, because when you cut it, those little threads do end up fraying. And the last section I'm going to do is down here. This is my bottom of the book. So the reason why you need to know where your top and bottoms are of the book, it doesn't even matter right now. It'll matter when you're putting in your paper, okay? Now, I've put in signatures upside down before and ruined the entire project, so I'd have to start over, or rip out that entire signature and do that, you know, that signature over again. So just to avoid that, I keep mentioning to you guys, know where your top and your bottom of your book is located, so so that, you know, you don't run into that issue that I did. But yeah, I mean, it's not like the end of the world or anything if you do stitch in a signature upside down. I mean, it just gives more character to the book, right? So yeah, that's that. Flip this back over, cut away any of these frayed threads that are hanging off of the thing. And now I mean, basically, if this is where you want to stop, you can. Now you have a book, cover and all, okay? Putting in the signatures, they're going to be on the outside of the spine. I can show you guys how to do a hidden spine as well. Like, you can do a spine inside here that won't be seen on the outside. And when I say spine, I mean this is where your signatures will be stitched into. But I kind of like it with the stitching exposed, okay? And then for this side right here, I'm just going to use, again, temporary glue stick. This is from Jot. Jot, I believe, is a Crafter's Square. No, it's just a Dollar Tree product, Jot. So yeah, if you have a Dollar Tree near you, grab some of this temporary glue. It helps with making these books. And I've had this glue for so long, I think, oh, yep, it's almost done. So yeah, I've had this glue for a while. And it's finally almost done. So that's how long these things last. Crafting doesn't have to be expensive at all, okay, you guys? Like, you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars at the store and Michael's and Hobby Lobby and wherever else to get your craft supplies. You can just, I'm using a packaging from a bed sheet. Like, I mean, you know, fabric that I got from the dollar store. So yeah, that's what junk journaling really is all about. It's about making do with what you have and making the most of it, right? So now I'm going to lay my fabric right here on the inside cover to create a beautiful inside jacket of the book. Just want to line that up right there and bring it all the way across this way. And because, again, it's temporary glue, if something doesn't sit well, you can just peel this back and lay it down again, right? But this is where you want to get everything nice and straight, nice and even. Yep, perfect. I think that's perfect. Perfect enough, right, for a junk journal. And then I'm going to cut away the excess. So I'm just going to pull this back some. Perfect right there. And I'm just going to cut away what's left. If you hear some scratching in the background, that's my dog. He's in the other room playing on the carpet. So yeah. All right, so this is my new junk journal for 2026. It's what I'm going to be using anyway for 2026. It's just a miniature version to this one, although the spine does look a little bit bigger. I can probably fit at least 5, maybe 4 to 5 signatures in here. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, this will be a nice mini version of the larger one. And yeah, I think this is going to work out really, really well. Okay, so again, this is temporary glue, so if you have to peel this up because sections didn't stick down, here you go, right? I have a little bubble right here that's not adhering to the fabric, so I'm just going to put a little bit of temporary glue right in there. And it will dry permanent. I mean, I call it temporary glue only because you can pick it up and reposition your stuff, but it will dry completely, you know, permanent. So it's not like it's forever temporary. Okay, that'll never come off. Okay, so there's that. Let's see, I usually make my books 9 by 6 because 8.5 by 11 paper fits perfectly inside of a 9 by 6 if you fold it in half, you know. So yeah, that's why I do that, because it's just so convenient to to have paper that already magically fits into this book. This one right here, I think was like a 8 by 10, or so, yeah, probably an 8 by 10, or maybe a 9 by 10. So yeah, this would just be a little miniature version to this one. All right, and what do I want to do next is probably find my signature paper and get them started to put them inside of here. So I'm going to go ahead and find my signature paper, and we'll do that now. Alright guys, so I went ahead and found a bunch of paper in my stash to create these signatures. I believe I have 5 signatures here. Maybe even 6 signatures can fit in this book. This is what it'll look like. 5 is good. I mean, you know, I don't think I'll be doing that much journaling this year, seeing that we're already a quarter of the way through the year. So anyway, what I've done was I've basically taken my signature paper, which vary in all sorts of shapes and sizes, colors and whatnot. Some of them are blank on one side, some of them are double-sided, you know, just various papers that I have from my stash, and I've even put in some vellum paper. The only thing that I've kept consistent was the jackets of each signature. I like to keep the jackets pretty much the same or similar, or at least have a jacket on each one of the signatures, just to keep everything nice and uniform and tightly packed together. Some people, other crafters, do care about what happens on the edge over here. They like to make sure that everything is tucked in nice and neatly. I personally do not care in this particular case, only because this is going to be my journal. I like to see the pages, you know, frayed at the edges or jagged, and even in here some of these pages are too big, so I just fold it over, you know, like right here. This is some I think I made this, well, I know I made it. This is, I think, wax paper. Some coffee dyed wax paper that I made. But yeah, whatever is just like too long or too big for the actual book, I just fold it in, you know. It's always extra space to write or to tuck things into. You can eventually make this into a pocket if you like. But yeah, it's just some variations of papers that I keep in my stash, and I'm putting it into the signatures today. So here's what my book will look like. Okay, outside cover, inside cover. You've seen me do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch in the past. That's exactly what I'm going to do here. Excuse me. I'm just going to take my ruler and basically line this up right here. I know that my pages are 8.5 inches tall. So I'm just going to take a pencil and basically mark where I want my my stitching to go. So some of the paper in here in the signatures are smaller, they're short. I need to get at least 2 stitches into those sheets of paper. So look, let me show you what I mean by that. Like this one, okay? Somehow, maybe I may only be able to get 1 stitch in here, but if I slide it down to the bottom, let's just say, I'll be able to get a center stitch and a bottom stitch. Okay, so I kind of like try to maneuver this inside sheet to fit where the stitching will be, so that at least 2 stitches will get on here. Like this one right here may even get 3, depending on where I place the 3-hole pamphlet stitches. So, and here's another one that's, you know, smaller than the average sheet. So again, I'm just trying to get a feel for where these the 3-hole pamphlet stitch is going to go, and I'm just going to line this up again with my ruler. I only have taken into account the signature cover, so again, some of my sheets may stick out up here, they may stick out over here. I really don't mind. I'm just going with 2 let's do 2 4.5 and 2 4.5 and 7.5. Yeah, I'll do 1.5 right here. 1.5. So I just draw a pencil mark on the spine of each one of those signatures. 1.5. We're gonna do 4.5. Right, with my pencil, and then I'm gonna do, let's do 7. Okay, so roughly that's where those are gonna go. Okay, so this is what you may or may not be able to see, those marks on there, but there's one here, here, and here, and hopefully I'll capture at least 2 stitches onto those smaller sheets of paper. To do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, you now have to then take these markings and duplicate them onto the cover of the book. So, and we usually start with the back signature first. So whatever the last signature is, that's the one we start with. I don't know. I think it's easier. That's just the way I was taught to do it. So again, I'm going to line my signature up here inside the book. I'm going to take my pen mark, or my pencil mark that I made earlier, and I'm just going to duplicate that right here onto the signature, onto the spine of the book itself. Okay, so there's 1, 2, and 3 right there. Okay, now you can take your 3-hole binder, your what is it, a crocodile or what have you, to create these holes through the spine of the book itself. But that's just giving me a rough example of where those are going to go. So I am going to go straight across here with my ruler, and this is the spine right here, so I got to get 5 of those in there. So with my ruler, I'm just going to measure across, let's see, I think centimeters and millimeters will become your friend in junk journaling, because it's so much easier to calculate centimeters evenly. So right here I'm using centimeters, and because I have 5 signatures, I know that 50 centimeters, the spine is actually 60 centimeters, so that's great. The first signature will go back here between 50 and 60, and then I'll just put a dot every 10. So my lines aren't straight across, but at least I have an idea, general idea of where they will go according to the marks that I made on the signature spine. I'm going to grab my large crocodile because that makes it go by so much faster, so much easier, and you'll see that it's just click click and we're done. Alright guys, I went ahead and grabbed my crocodile. This is a crocodile too, it's the big boy, okay? So if you have a smaller crocodile, consider getting one of these, only because it has this large section right in here for getting deep into the center of the signature to pop a hole in there, okay? So consider that. And if you don't have one, you can always use an awl. Where did my awl go? It was just here. Anyway, oh, here it is. This is an awl, A-W-L. You can pop the holes directly into both the book and the signature itself. These are pointed tool, and it'll create a nice hole for you if you don't have a crocodile. All I'm going to do right here is make sure I get all my pages in here nice and centered. I don't think I have too many. I try to keep the offset ones here in the middle of the signature. I'm just going to flip this over, okay? and just give everything a nice squeeze, and use one of these oversized paper clips to hold it together on this side right here, right? And just get everything nice and straight. And then I'm going to use the crocodile to pop the holes in. I'm using the 1/8 setting, the 1/8 of an inch setting, and I'm just going to put a hole right where I put my mark, and it should just easily go right through. So I'm just trying to find the mark that I made. Okay, so those are 2 of the holes that I made. Okay, and here's the 3rd. So you're going to do this to each signature ahead of time, which will make stitching into the book a lot easier. Okay, so that went straight down here. Fold everything back over, nice and neat. Everything fits right back where it's supposed to be, and this will be my back signature of this book. I'm also going to go ahead and punch the holes into the book spine because, you know, why not? This is ready to go too, so put one hole there, one right there. I'm going to flip this whole thing over and put the final one right there. Okay, so those are the 3 holes that I'm going to need to stitch in this signature. I'm using waxed thread. If you have waxed thread, you can feel free to use that. If you don't, it's fine also. You can use baker's twine, you can use regular twine, any kind of twine or any kind of thread that you have. Floss, any kind of embroidery floss you can use. But yeah, it's just based on preference, right? So I have this waxed thread and that's what I like to use. So, and to get the measurement, if you want to cut your thread ahead of time, if you notice this isn't extremely straight, but if you want to cut your thread ahead of time, I always do 2.5 times the height of the book. Okay, the entire book, not just the signature. So here's 1, 2, I'm sorry, 3 times the height of the book, and that'll give you the 3 whole pamphlet stitch that you need. Okay, enough thread for that. I'm just going to leave mine on the spool because I found that I waste less thread if I leave it on the spool. So that's pretty much why I leave it that way. You can measure it out if you like, but it's not necessary. So from here, you're going to start in the center hole that you made, and you're going to put this into the center hole of the spine and run it straight through. Okay, one moment. Sorry, my signature is actually upside down. Here we go. So you're going to put this in right here and run it straight through the center hole that you made in the spine. Okay, and that's how you start your stitch. But for me personally, I'm going to show you what the back side of my cover looks like and what I'm going to do to fix it. So this is the back side of the cover. This is where I made those 3 holes, right? And I'm not a big fan of the fraying fabric. So to protect the fabric from fraying even further, I'm going to put an eyelet in there, okay? And I'll show you what that is. It's basically just an eyelet. You use the same crocodile to set the eyelets in, and just by moving the lever over to the far left, and I'll show you what to do to set those eyelets. So I took 3 1/8 inch eyelets and I put them into each one of those holes, and you can see how much cleaner of a look you'll get by putting in eyelets into your cover, and you won't get those frayed marks on, or the frayed strings from the fabric peeping through. And whatever is peeping through, you could just go ahead and clean those up. I just need to make sure that my eyelets go all the way through in order for me to crunch it with the crocodile. So I'm going to push this one in line it up with the crocodile setter and punch it through, and that should do it, right? That's what you'll end up with, a much nicer, more even looking, prettier hole. Basically, it's just a prettier looking hole. I'm just gonna line this up and crunch it through. Okay, and I'll do that for all of the holes that I've made in the book cover. Okay, so yeah, that looks a lot better on this side and on this side. Okay, so from there I'm going to take my thread and my needle. This is a darning needle. It has a large eye and a dull tip. Okay, and I'm just going to start in the center hole of the signature and go to the center hole of the book cover. Pull that through. You can go to the top up here, or you can go to the bottom. It doesn't matter. But on this side of the book, you're gonna go, I'll do the top. Sometimes it's easier. Okay. Pull that through. Then you're gonna go all the way down to the bottom and put it into the spine of the book. Okay, and then you're going to come back through the center again, just like so. Okay, and what you want to make sure that you don't do is thread your previous thread. You don't want to pierce this accidentally when you're coming through the center hole. And then you want to take one side of the thread and put it on one side of this bridge right here, and leave the other side on the opposite side of the bridge. Okay, and then you want to even everything up. So let's just go ahead and pull this through, and get a nice short string right here in the middle, small enough to tie a knot and possibly even a bow. Okay, this is a lock knot stitch that I'm doing right here. This is the locking part of the of holding the signature together. So I'm just going to do one right over left and then one left over right. Okay, so then I'll do one this way, and this locks the thread in place. Okay, and if you have enough thread left over, you can tie yourself a nice little bow right here. Which is why I like to keep my my threads connected or attached to the spool itself, because sometimes you may have too much thread here in the middle and then you cut it away and you've wasted all that thread. Sometimes it's too small and you can't even tie the bow, which is what I'm finding right now, but it's okay. I think I can get it. Right, so I just want to show you guys this one signature, and then I'm going to go ahead and do all the others. Okay, once you get your bow tied off, you can then pull the strings to even everything up by holding down that lock knot, and voila. Okay, now we have that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all the other signatures the exact same way that I just did this one, and you can see that's what one signature in this book looks like. Okay, and that's what it's going to look like on the outside. You have your 3 holes, and we just did a 3-hole pamphlet stitch for getting these signatures into the book. Alright, I used non-directional paper, so none of this matters what direction it's facing. If you use directional paper, you will have to decide where is your top of your signature and where is the bottom of your signature. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, I'll be back in 2 ticks after I've completed all the signatures, stitching them in, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay guys, I've completed the journal. It's all done. I've got all my signatures in here, and yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. So I just want to do a quick flip through with you. This is the junk journal that I'll be working on for the year 2026. So more videos to come with me working in this junk journal. This is my spine. As you can see, some of my Some of my stitching is a little wider in some areas, smaller in others, but you know, you get the gist. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's perfect for me. Okay, so let's do a quick flip through. You can see some of the pages that I selected for my signatures. Each one has its own jacket cover. So yeah, I have pretty paper, some like nostalgic paper, some music paper, just various pretty things going on in here. Even some of this paper I was able to use. This was the large sheet that I showed you initially that you know, I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to use it, but there it is. It works great. So lots of blank spaces in here. This I was able to get 2 stitches into, so I was happy about that. And yeah, it just goes on and repeats on the other side of the signature. Then we go to the next one. Again, just pretty paper, some graph paper, some old schematic paper, and just some writing paper. A lot of writing space in here, and or at least decorating space, right? So like I can totally cover this entire thing right here with some really cool ephemera and pockets and tucks and all kinds of cool stuff. And again, I was able to get all 3 into this small sheet right here, so I'm pretty happy about that. And then it repeats on the other side of the signature. My third signature has lots of cool stuff in here. You know, just some old paper, and I like, well, this is just a photocopy of something that I had. Okay, so I copied it, and I like having these borders around it. You know, it's 8.5 by 11, but when you copy it, it shrinks it down just a little bit. But I like having this margins over here at the top and the bottom, or on the sides like this one. This is great decorating space, right? So yeah, just pretty paper, another sheet of that really cool paper from that large pack. And here I have some I almost said toilet paper. This is a napkin that I Mod Podged and made a really nice sheet. It's like vellum almost. It's so cool. Anyway, yep, and here's another like oversized sheet that can just become something else. It'll hold, you know, other things, and that repeats on the back side. This signature has lots of these little margins that didn't fit, so I just folded them over. This also has like some dot matrix paper in here, like this is from an old dot matrix printer. Again, some more of these. Oh, nice. Oh, that's a nice piece of paper. I didn't even realize it. But yeah, this is some rice paper that I made from wax paper. And again, I was able to get 2 stitches in here, so I'm happy about that. And I'm not even concerned about the markings at the bottom of the sheet. It'll all get covered up either with journaling or with ephemera. So here's some more openings on the other side. And yeah, okay. And then my final signature is this guy. Very pretty paper. It's single-sided, right? And then so there's lots of room for journaling. Okay, so yeah, that's basically what I have going on in here for this journal. I have a little book plate, right? I'm just gonna glue it down on the front cover. This way I know this is my top section, and I will probably eventually put on some book corners on here to protect the corners of the book. It's a little softer than I would have liked based on the cardboard that I used, and I also don't want these to fray any more than they are already fraying. So to put on my book corners and this book plate, I'm going to use a heavy-duty glue, something like Fabri-Tac or Fabri-Fix or Beacon 3-in-1 if that's what you have. Go ahead and do that, but I am going to just glue my plate on as opposed to actually using these 2 brads to pierce through the book cover. So I already attached the brads, and I'll just glue this whole thing on with a very sturdy, very strong glue, more than likely Fabri-Fix. Okay, so here is my mini journal. It's an actual size. It's not a mini journal. It's just mini compared to this guy right? So this is the smaller version of this journal. And what I've decided to do with this journal is probably just make it into like an art journal. So here I have some Jot watercolor paper. This is from the dollar store. It's very thick. It's like actual watercolor paper. So I'm just gonna make this into my art journal. And what I'll do is probably put 2 prongs on the back side here to hold this into the book. And this way when it's full, so yeah, I'll put a 2-prong, maybe even a brad back here, or I have a couple of 2-prong binder clips that can go right in here. And this way when I'm done with it, I just take it off and add another one, right? So yeah, and I actually have 2 of these, so that'll be great. This will be my art journal. And again, I will put a book plate, probably something larger than this, on the front here, and definitely put on those corner protectors on there. So alright guys, this was an extra long video as my welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad that you guys took your time today to be with me and to watch the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Please guys, I really appreciate any comments that you put in the comment section. I do interact with everyone. I will, whether good, bad, or otherwise, I will interact with you on the comments. So it may take me a couple of days to see all the comments and everything, but I do get back in there and check it all out. So yeah, just don't forget to share these videos with your friends and family and anyone who you think would get value out of this channel in these videos. And I will definitely talk to you guys in the next one. Stay naturally curious. All right, bye.